This is an example of a biohybrid robotic system. This Arduino is connected to a flower, which moves almost like it doesn't want to be touched. And if I do touch the flower, the Arduino lights up this LED as an alarm. If I move my finger away, the flower moves back when it knows it's safe. In this video, I'll show you how to build your own biohybrid robotic system like this. Now, you might ask yourself why you would do this at all instead of just making a robot out of more traditional materials like metal or plastic. And one major advantage that living materials have over those materials is that they can grow and repair themselves. So scientists are very interested in building biohybrid robots that can incorporate living tissue so the robots can potentially automatically repair themselves if they get damaged and it's hard to access them to repair them. If you've never used an Arduino before, we recommend starting out with our Arduino tutorial series, which you can find linked in the description before you try this project. In that tutorial series, we have a video covering capacitive touch sensing on the Arduino Uno R4. Note that this feature comes built into both the R4 Minima and R4 Wi-Fi, but the example code in this video will not work on the older Uno R3. So go check out that video for the full tutorial and how you can use any conductive object like this piece of aluminum foil or a piece of fruit to use the Arduino to control an LED when you touch the conductive object. What we're going to do in this video is add a servo motor and rely on the fact that the capacitance measured by the Arduino actually starts to change when something else conductive, like your finger, gets close to this conductive object before they actually touch. So even though right now I have the Arduino programmed to treat this like a digital input, so the LED is either on or off, and it is either detecting touch or not detecting touch, we're going to treat it more like an analog input where that capacitance value can change continuously, and we're going to use that reading to control the servo motor to, as you saw at the beginning of the video, rotate the motor and move the flower away when my finger starts to approach it. So looking at the hardware setup, I have a small hobby servo motor, and we also have a separate video all about these positional servo motors that you can watch before you do this project, again, linked in the description. This servo has 3 wires, orange, red, and brown, for signal, power, and ground respectively. So I have that plugged into my breadboard. The servo cable has female header pins, but you can then use male header pins to plug it into the breadboard, where I use corresponding jumper wires to connect it to Arduino ground, 5 volts from the Arduino, and the signal wire is going over to Arduino pin 11. Note that you can usually power one of these small servos just using the 5 volts from your Arduino, but for bigger servos or multiple servos, you're going to want an external power supply, and again, we have a video covering that in the Arduino tutorial series as well. Not going to mash all of it into this video. So that's how you connect your servo. Don't forget to connect ground and 5 volts from your Arduino. We have the LED connected to Arduino pin 8 with a 470 ohm current limiting resistor in series with the LED. And then finally, we have a jumper wire and an alligator clip connected to Arduino pin 0, and that's the pin we are going to use for our capacitive touch sensing. And if you go back and watch the capacitive touch sensing tutorial, this functionality does not exist on every pin. There is a table of compatible pins in the Arduino documentation, one for the R4 Minima, one for the R4 Wi-Fi, so make sure you check that page before you choose which pin you want to work with. So I have the alligator clip attached to that jumper wire, and that simply runs over to a popsicle stick that I have attached to the servo horn just with tape here, and the other end of the alligator clip is what I am going to use to attach different conductive objects for testing. You could start out with something inorganic like a piece of aluminum foil, but then for a biohybrid robot, you're going to want to move on to living plant material like a flower, a leaf, a blade of grass, or something like that. And if you wanted to get really fancy, maybe you could even include a little cup of water like a medicine cup or something here, so you can actually keep the plant alive longer term instead of just cutting the flower and clipping it like I did for this demonstration. Now let's take a look at the code, which again is very similar to the code just for using the capacitive touch sensor, but we have added in control of the servo. So at the beginning, we are going to load both the capacitive touch and servo libraries. We're then going to set up the objects for both of those things, which you can name whatever you want. So the example code uses touch button, but you could call this something else. and I have called my servo 1 just in case I want to add more. But in the usual Arduino example code here, it calls it my servo or something like that. So again, you can choose different names for both of those objects. And I should have mentioned that if you don't want to have to transcribe all of this code yourself, you can download it from the procedure section from the link in the description. I then define a few constants or variables used by the code. So I have one for the LED pin, one for the threshold of the capacitive touch sensor that I'm going to use to move the servo away. This is different and lower than the threshold to detect a full-blown touch that we'll talk about a little later. And then I also have the initial angle that I want my servo to start at. That may depend on how you have your servo mounted, but remember that's going to be between 0 and 180 degrees for a positional servo. We then have our setup function where I initialize serial communication. I set my LED pin as an output. I use the servo1.attach command to tell the Arduino which pin I will have the servo on, which I am choosing pin 11, but you could choose a different pin. And then I use servo1.write to set the initial angle of the servo. We then have this if-else statement, which initializes the capacitive touch sensor and does a little error checking to make sure you are using a compatible pin. Again, remember there are tables with different pins for the R4 minima and R4 Wi-Fi in the Arduino documentation, so if you are not using a compatible pin, it will print an error message and ask you to use a supported pin. Then there is a set threshold command that is part of the capacitive touch library. This is setting the threshold to detect a touch. So again, this is when you have completely touched and are in contact with the conductive object that is connected to your Arduino pin, which is separate from the different and lower threshold that we set earlier. Notice how this is much lower. I've chosen about 40, but you will need to test this code yourself and look at the output on the serial monitor to calibrate both of these values. But again, this is the higher value for when you have detected a complete touch. We then go on to the loop function, which is code, as always, in an Arduino program that's going to loop forever, as opposed to the code in setup that only runs once. And here we are going to use touchButton.read to read the capacitive sensor value and print that raw value out to the serial monitor. We then use the isTouched function to detect if the sensor pin has been touched. And again, that's going to be based on this threshold that we set with the set threshold command. And just like we did in the previous example program in our tutorial series, we're just going to use that to toggle an LED on and off using the digital write command. Now we have another if-else statement that is going to control the servo. So I have if the sensor value is greater than the threshold, which is again that threshold variable I set earlier, not the same one as the set threshold command, then I am going to decrease my angle. This depends on which way you want your servo to rotate, but I am going to decrease it by 5 degrees, and note that angle minus equals 5 is simply shorthand notation for angle equals angle minus 5, so that'll do the same thing. Else, if the sensor value is less than or equal to that threshold, then I'm going to slowly increase the angle and move back. And you might want to fine-tune the values of these two numbers to make sure your servo motor's motion isn't too jerky. Same goes for the delay here at the end. If you decrease this delay, the servo may react more quickly. If you increase the delay, it's going to react more slowly. So I found that this combination worked well of moving back or away by 5 degrees, but only closer by 1 degree for each loop iteration, which has a 100 millisecond delay. But again, you might want to play with the timing here, depending on the behavior of your system. And then finally, after this if-else statement, I'm going to use the constrain function to keep my servo's angle within a certain range. For my demonstration, I don't actually want it to go through the full 0 to 180 degree range, so I'm going to constrain it between 0 and 90. Again, you could choose different numbers here depending on how you want your servo to move. And then finally, going to use the servo write command to set the new angle. So once you have your first pass at this code, which is going to include those two different threshold values and the amount you want the servo to move on each step, go ahead and upload this code to your Arduino. Connect whatever organic material, whether it's a flower, leaf, blade of grass, whatever it is, to your alligator clip, and then go ahead and open the serial monitor and watch the output. So right now I have a flower connected to my alligator clip like you saw at the beginning of the video. And when I am not near the flower at all, you see the value is pretty low. Every once in a while I get some noise or a high value where it spikes up, maybe just from capacitance of other things moving around in the environment, but it's usually pretty close to zero until I start to bring my hand close to the flower, and then we see it goes up pretty consistently into the 20s or 30s when I am not touching it until I finally do touch it, and then it goes up over 100. So this is kind of a two-step calibration. Again, where you're going to want one reaction where you want the servo to move when you're only above a certain threshold when you get close to the flower so it moves away. So I might want to choose maybe 20 or 30 for that value, and then you want to light the LED up when you're actually touching it. And based on the results here, I'm going to want something maybe in the 1 to 200 range. So I'm going to go back up and drop this value down to say maybe 25 for the threshold to move the servo. And then in my set threshold command, I'm going to make this much lower, 100 instead of 1000, re-upload this code to my Arduino, and then go test it out. After uploading, I can test my program out by bringing my finger or hand close to the flower, and as you can see here, the flower is moving away because the servo is rotating before my hand actually makes contact with it, and when I do make contact with the flower, the LED lights up. And if I move my hand away, the motor will slowly rotate back. Now, one massive caveat here is that this demonstration only works in one direction. The Arduino is just sensing the capacitance on this pin. It cannot tell if my hand is to the right or to the left, so trying to approach the flower from the left actually makes this sort of malfunction. It tries to move away because I programmed it under the assumption that my hand is only going to approach from the right. So there is no directionality in that capacitive sensing. The other big caveat is that the capacitive sense feature is measuring the capacitance of this Arduino pin relative to the entire environment. So that includes the wires relative to everything, the other wires around them, and other objects in the environment. So if you move your Arduino, for example, if you have it next to your computer and then you pick it up and take it somewhere else to test it, that baseline capacitance can change, and that can then mess up your calibration. So you probably want to do the calibration and use the serial monitor in the location where you're actually going to use the Arduino. And if you do move it, you may need to go ahead and change your calibration. Now, the purpose of this video is really just a demonstration. We've shown you how to get a single capacitive sensing pin to control a single motor, and how you can integrate living or organic material to make a biohybrid robotic system. But this system itself is just a demonstration that moves away when it looks like you're trying to touch the plant. If you want to turn this into your own project, for example, for a science or engineering fair, or put your own unique spin on it, we have dozens of other Arduino projects on our channel, but most of them don't use plants or organic matter. So you could go take one of those projects and look at it and think, how could I integrate a living sensor into the project? And how could I even give the plant the support it needs, like soil and water and light, such that it could become a long-term sustainable part of the project that can even grow or heal itself, instead of just taking a single flower like the one I've clipped here that's going to die if I don't give it water. So again, the purpose of this video is just to get you started, showing you how to use that capacitive touch sensing feature and the motor, but we strongly encourage you to go check out the rest of our channel and think about how you could integrate a sensor like this into your own project. You could also attempt to use multiple pins for multiple sensors with multiple plants. For example, if you wanted to use a robot with 2 sensors that allow it to steer left and right to avoid an obstacle using the plant as a touch sensor. We have found the library for this to be a little buggy when using multiple pins, so you might want to go check out the official Arduino forums for any help or updates there. If you do try this project out yourself, we'd love to hear from you, so please go ahead and leave a comment below this video and let us know how it went. Don't forget to check out the rest of our channel for dozens of other Arduino projects and subscribe so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.